Hello, people. How you doing today? Just like to say hi. I'm here with Danny Trio. We'll get Danny up close to his mic to say hello. Make sure you can hear us. Let us both know. Danny, you want to say hi?
How's everybody doing?
And let me tell if you hear our mics, any issues with them, let me know. We're going to have an interesting show today. And let's read off who's here so far. Let's see. Stephen Bailey from across the pond. We appreciate that you think this is your favorite. Well, this is your favorite podcast. Thank you. Raul J. He comes up with a good one. Who wins a fist fight? 3 Danny DeVitos or 1 Danny Trio? Okay. Are we talking about a young Danny DeVito or an old Danny DeVito? Because when Danny DeVito was young, he could stick it and move it. Neutral drop. Hey, Danny, I'm working late tonight. I'm heading to your old stomping grounds, West 19th and Neptune, to buy an old Buick. Lee and Danny have a great show tonight. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Neutral Drop. Jesse Roth, how you doing? Scott Lawson, how you doing? Josh Lyles. Hello to Lee and Danny and everybody. Hope everyone's has a great week so far.
What's up, Josh?
Awesome. Let's see. Josh Lyles, me too. Miss Can't Be Wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. Miss Can't Be Wrong. Yeah, your Ronnie G's are mixed up. We're talking Ronnie One Arm. He was part of the Gambino family. And Ronnie G, Gialonzo, was part of the Bonanos. Okay. See, when I first started this show, I wouldn't have known that a year ago. That's how much you learn with this. Okay, C Money, Ryan Lacey Agnello, how you doing? BK Salbrook, Rob D. Okay, Josh B. Miss Charlie Stein, how you doing today, Miss Charlie Stein? BK Nico, how you doing? Jimmy Dean, how you doing? Okay, so did Ronnie One Arm have just one arm?
Yeah. It was from an accident when he was a kid.
Oh, he didn't have like a thumb sticking out of it or something?
He had like a bullhorn hanging out.
A bullhorn?
No.
Okay. Did you ever see his arm personally?
He had no arm.
Did you get to shake arms with him? Well, he's in prison now, and he's going to die there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, people, let's see, right? We're going to get into that. Let's let some more people get in here before we start. But we just want to make a statement about everything that's going on in MobTube right now with all these channels. There are some attacks going on right now that are very, very vicious. And Danny and I have come to a conclusion and a decision that unless we're attacked viciously, we are not going to respond to any of these people. Danny, why don't you give your point?
Well, they can say what the fuck they want about me. You know what I'm saying? I really don't give a fuck. They seem to have a hard on for me because I interviewed Cthulhu. I don't give a fuck. You know, I don't go into these fucking chat rooms snooping and looking like all the rest of them do. So listen, you want to attack me, you go right ahead, because not one of you can shine my fucking shoes. Not one of you. So do what you got to do. I don't give a fuck what you say about me. You know what I'm saying? And that's it, because it's a soap opera. Everybody's got to have somebody's name in their fucking mouth. If you say something, if they say something, it's like Romper Room, like the Mickey Mouse Club. So whatever you guys want to do, you go ahead and do it. I can give a rat's ass. So if that makes you feel prevalent and relevant in your life, have at it.
Okay. Tommy Stiggs, how you doing? Thank you for being here. Okay. So Jim Martin, I'm a fellow Brooklyn brother, Kings County Hospital, 1967. How you doing, Jim Martin? Welcome. And we appreciate you showing up tonight. Okay. And I like to say one thing too. People, it's getting a little bit vicious with everybody talking about, families and stuff. I seen some stuff yesterday. It was unbelievable. The things that was said about family. I'm a big boy. Danny's a big boy. If you want to come after us and talk about us, if we want to fight with each other, fine, let's do it. But the families, and then Tony Pizza. I like to give my kudos to Bay Eighth. You guys can't believe I said that, but Bay Eighth actually said something today. He said, F Tony Pizza. I don't care who on this side has Tony Pizza around. He ain't never coming on my show, and he's a piece of garbage. See, everybody has to think like that, people. Whether you like Bay Eighth or not, it's all sides and all that. But at least he knows that this guy's a piece of garbage, Tony Pizza. Nobody should take him on. And if you take him on, shame on you. If you platform him after everything he said, shame on you. Danny, what's your feelings about Tony Pizza at this moment? We're not going to talk too long about this.
Like I said before, he's a comic book character. And I guarantee if somebody grabbed him by the fucking neck, he'd piss his pants. So, he talks like he's a tough guy, like he's going to kill somebody. He's coming looking for somebody. Guy can't even take a fucking bath. And he's worried about going looking for somebody. So, I'll tell you where I live. You can come to my fucking house. Since you threatened me and what you're going to do to me, you can't even wipe your fucking ass, you fucking punk. So I would advise you to come see me and come correct so I can, I can really get an autograph from you, and you can tell all your friends on the other side how you beat me up. So.
Okay. And people, once again, like I said, let's stop with the fucking attacking the family shit. Really? If you want to go after somebody, go after them. But the family stuff is way out of boundaries. We're talking about people's kids now. Hey, Danny and Lee, chat, still grooming. Terrytown, $20. Thank you, Terrytown.
Thank you, Terrytown. Nice of you. Thank you.
I'm going to talk about this, Tommy. This is a good point. Guys, I personally think this show has risen to the next level. Watch your content because I think big guys and great opportunities are watching. It's going to be good. Well, we agree with you, and it is going. And I'm gonna bring up a point that can't be denied. Okay, so
well, wait a minute, Lee. The other side seems we're buying subs. Let me just
wait. Who said that? Who said that?
Just listen to me for 1 second. I mean, I don't give a fuck, but why does everybody care what somebody else does or doesn't?
Well, if they're buying subs, they should care.
Well, I'm just saying, why do people worry about what this show does or doesn't show? If we're dummies, jerk-offs, what do you care?
You know why? Because their show's not growing.
Well, irregardless, it's the same thing every fucking day. Every fucking day. They got this one's name in their mouth, that one's name in their mouth. Their sister's ass in their fucking mouth. That's all they do, man. Don't you just get tired of that? I mean, Jesus Christ. 60 years old, 50 years old, 40 years old. Yous are like fucking yentas, like people that sit on the bench on Ocean Parkway that feed the pigeons. That's what yous are. You know what color bike goes by. You know the guy that's fucking the Jewish lady down the block. Yous are all backwards. I swear to God, fucking morons.
Yeah. And listen, we all make mistakes. I made a mistake here 11 months ago, and I'm going to tell you about it. I did a show, and I mentioned, and I shouldn't have brought Angel Gotti's brother into it, and I did. But you know what, people? I apologized several times. I'm not going to do it again. So people that are throwing that up there and saying what you did and what you did, here's the fact of the matter. Every night we got shows going on talking horrible shit about people. Some guy who's supposed to be so well respected around here threatened me and then started talking about my high school niece. And you know who you are. And let me tell you this one. If anybody brings up any of you shows that if you go after my families, I will rip into your family. I'll call every motherfucker up on the phone. If you're going to come after me, but don't talk about my family. I don't give a shit if they hate me. What kind of lowlives are you, man? Fucking fight. You want to fight one-on-one? Is this the only content? And people, we have content here. That's why we're rising. That's why our subs. We're going to talk about Ronnie One Arm today. What content do you guys offer? You guys offer no content, none. And so, people, I just wanted to show you some facts here. I put this up 1 month ago. Please go check out the new version of our website. Give us the opinions you think. We are 20 subs from 4K and 17K from 1 million views. Okay? So now we have 1,100,000 views and 4,500. We picked up almost 500 subs in the last month. Honestly. Honestly. Do you understand that, people? And you know why we picked them up? Because we had 2 great interviews. We had Russo on, Convict Inc. That picked us up a lot of subs. And we also had Catullo on. And that, Catullo is still gaining. Catullo's at 15,000, 16,000 views. And it picks up like 500 views every day. So instead of bitching and claiming people ditch it, put out good shows, people. Put out good shows. Not this bullshit of tearing people's hearts out and going after people's families and stuff. Come on. Really, people? Enough already. And if anybody's calling people to show up at people's houses, like family services and stuff and all that stuff, fuck you. You deserve to die. Once you go that far, and if anybody, I don't give a shit, anybody that did it, you're a lousy piece of garbage if you did that. And that's just the way I feel on it, people. And I'm not going to talk about that no more. Okay. Let's read some of these chats. CK, Danny is right. These people are a bunch of garbage pails, but they would never say it to your face. Exactly.
No, they won't. You know what it is? Like, I know a lot of people have said this, and I'm guilty of it too. But I'm just going to say this. It's easy to talk shit to a fucking computer or whatever. But what's really daunting is if you walk up to somebody and grab them by the fucking throat and split their skull open on the sidewalk. I didn't say nothing.
Don't say that.
I'm just saying. Okay. But anybody can talk shit. But the reality of it is what happens when something happens. What happens?
Yep.
I'm just saying. That's
what's going to happen. Ronnie had a nub that was always very flashy, wearing a Sergio T suit.
Yeah, he had a suit that he always wore. If the headlights of a car hit it, it would deflect the fucking light. The thing was so shiny.
So he was a good dresser.
Yeah, he dressed good. Yeah.
Okay. Danny Trio has been crystal clear about his feelings about pizza. Yes, he's very crystal clear. Anybody that accepts that guy, shame on you. Because anybody...
Well, it only goes to their narrative. That's why they don't give a fuck about him. They got him on there because he's a tool. You understand? But, sooner or later, what happens to tools? They break.
They do. And that guy's he'll stay faithful to people for 2 days.
He's a lowlife. His mother, they should have shot his mother for having him.
Danny!
Fucking punk.
I was a little boy when Ronnie was on the corner. Nice dude. He definitely had the presence where you knew he wasn't the ordinary citizen. Always nice Sergio T suit on a regular suit. Okay, we got a lot of things here. I'm just going to catch up before we start talking about these guys. Interested in a show on Ronnie. I knew him very well. He was a great guy. We both were loyal to each other. Okay, thank you, XX. Appreciate that. Laugh Out Lita, did you ever get in trouble with threats he makes? So don't worry if Danny gets a bit aggressive. Nothing is going to happen to your channel. But see, we don't want to do that here. We don't want to be like his channel. But, you guys know Danny. What he says he feels passionate about, and it's from his heart. He's not joking. He means it. Okay. Okay. Let's see. We're going to talk about. Why don't you give us? Okay, do it. Ronnie Trucchio and his brother. I'm sorry, his son Alfonso. Uh, Now we're going to talk. We started this show. We were talking about kids, like minor league kids, like Bath Avenue, Tanglewood boys and stuff. And someone started. It was Danny actually. We're talking about Ronnie Trucchio. Why don't you explain to us some details on Ronnie Trucchio, Danny?
Well, Ronnie Chuccio was a was a guy from Queens, Ozone Park in particular, and he got made in the I think the late '80s, 88, 89, somewhere around there. And he rose through the ranks. He became a captain. He was very well liked by John Gotti, and equally as liked was his son, who also became a captain. And he's shelved now, but they had a house on 122nd Street in Ozone Park, and I think Rock. I'm not going to use his whole name, but the guy Rock was real close with Alphonse, and they had mad money they made up. They were making over $30 million a year in bookmaking up there, and they also had a house on North Conduit. But anyway, Ronnie was a great guy. Ronnie was sharp. He knew how to make money. Equally, his son was as sharp as he was, and they were very well liked. I know the son had a little bit of a problem with a guy in prison, and I think he slapped him or pushed him, and he was ultimately shelved. And he's down in Florida now, I believe, and doing whatever he does.
And so Ronnie Trucchio, he came up as an associate with Fat Andy Ruggiano, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And was he partners with Jojo Carrazzo?
I don't know if he was partners. They did things together.
Oh, they did things together though. Okay, and he was in the Gambino family. He was made in 1989.
Okay.
And it was under Peter Gotti.
Yep.
And at the Bergen crew. Okay, and I believe people. I'm not this smart. Our other person that helps this show all the time was nice enough to give me some details on him. So he had a bunch of kids that worked that he basically used. Explain.
Well, they were that whole crew, the Ozone Park boys. I knew a guy, Eli. I'm sure somebody says that they knew Ronnie. They might know Eli. Eli was another tough kid. The government tried to get him on a bunch of charges. They could never get him to stick. Anyway, that whole crew was into drug dealing, loan sharking, credit card fraud. You name it, they had their hands in it. They also operated out of Fort Lauderdale. I'm privy to that because a friend of mine was killed. I don't know who killed him, but that whole crew, they were bad. Jerry Bruno, they were all bad guys. I mean, legitimate tough guys, and they did their thing.
Your friend that was killed, was he working with this crew at that time?
I'm not going to say what he was or he wasn't, but he was a bouncer in a club that anyway, he was a bouncer in a club, and they followed him home. They killed him, and they killed his girlfriend at the time.
Oh, they killed him and the girlfriend together. Well, that sounds like something real personal. Well, I mean, especially if they go for girlfriend.
You live that life, and you rub somebody the wrong way. Back then, it was nothing to get murdered. I mean, he was a great guy. He was a good-looking guy. He was fucking muscle, big guy. And either he was a threat or he did something. Anyway, he's dead, and that's the end of that.
And so Ronnie Trucchio became a captain in the early 1990s after John Gotti became the acting boss. Is that correct?
Yeah, but John liked him. John liked Ronnie. And again, Ronnie, it was all about the Benjamins. Ronnie made a lot of money, and so did his son.
Okay, so now the crew, the Ozone Park boys, were any of those eventually made? Were any of those members eventually made, or were they like the Bath Avenue kids, very wild killers in general.
Well, I don't know. Don't forget, I was in prison for a long time, so I don't know who was made who. I know some people that were in the Ozone Park Boys. Are they made? I don't know. But anyway, I'm sure maybe somewhere along the line, some was, some weren't. I don't know.
Now, Alphonse Trucchio, did he actually work in the same crew with his father?
Yeah, his father. Yeah, his father eventually got demoted. He became a soldier, and I'm not going to go into why, but it's too long. But there was some animosity there. Alphonse became a captain. He was young. Again, it goes to money, and Al made tons of fucking money. I mean, the kid made an enormous amount of money. Put it to you that way.
And he's currently not in prison anymore. Is that correct?
No, he got out, I think, last year or 2 years ago. He's in Florida.
How much time did he wind up doing?
I don't know. I think he did 10 or 11 years, something like that.
So he did a nice long stint, and he got out, and he never ratted or snitched on anybody.
No, but according to John A. Light, Ronnie One Arm was a rat.
Yeah, John A. Light had a lot of bad things to say about Ronnie.
I wonder why they don't talk about he wore girls' underwear, John A. Light.
Oh, I got some nice pictures of John A. Light.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he wore. I forget the name they said, but he used to like to wear women's garments. So I asked this person, "What do you mean?" He said he loves silky drawers.
Does he like the ones that have the slit cut out of the asshole in the back?
Probably. There was a little zipper in the front too. He could pop his cock out.
Well, listen, I'm going to show you some really nice pictures. Now, I'm serious. Take a look at this picture first of all. Here's John A. Light. He looked like he was in love. He was in love with Junior. Look at this. I mean, that's John A. Light. He's thinking to himself, I cannot believe that Junior's even talking to me. But look at the way he bends back and has that smile. So I said, okay, I'm thinking to myself, nah, maybe it's just one of those pictures. But then I got a prison picture of John A. Light. And Danny, when you were in prison, did you ever get this close to a man?
Hey, listen, there's etiquette in prison. There's etiquette in the street. No man, forget about it. These people are nuts. He probably pinched his tits too.
He has that arm around him like John A. Light belongs to him. Like we know who the bitch is here.
Well, we saw John A. Light on TV going after a transsexual, so.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think he hooked up with her too.
Probably
and then, and wait a minute. We got one more on you, John A. Light. Now, this guy at the end is a known pedophile, and guess who wrote a lot of John A. Light's book? That pedophile. So people,
birds of a feather flock together.
If it walks like a duck, looks like a duck,
it's a duck.
It's a duck. That's it. So I wasn't even planning on showing that stuff on John A. Light, but we just happened to come across it while we were talking about Trucchio and his son Alfonso. And he made the comment that there's no proof, but he called Trucchio the father. He called him a rat. And there's never been no evidence, no 302s or anything that would say that Truccio's a rat.
It's to A. Light's narrative. You know what I'm saying? So whatever, man.
And why would you think he would make something like that up about him?
Well, look what John A. Light does. This is what he does. He fabricates things and he gets people to, wonder. But if you know Ronnie One Arm or that whole crew, you got to be a moron to believe it.
Okay, let's read some of these marks. Okay, so the father is still in prison, right?
Yeah, he's never getting out.
Okay, and the son got out of prison a couple
the son is out
after doing a long sentence.
Yeah.
And so the father, do you know what his charges were? Did he get?
Oh, he got a ton. He got murder charges, racketeering charges.
Bobby Lombardi, Lee, your channel is doing well from content you put out alone. Why would you worry about a homeless guy that has to pull a wagon to get from place to place? You guys are old enough. You know you're wrong. Well, you know what? Because we want to give him our attention. And being that we have a show, we have the right to do that. We can give them our attention. It's just one of those things. John Wayne. Actually, my friend's mom dated him a long time ago. She also dated Frank Cali for a little back in the day. I guess your mom's friend was a mob gal. There were quite a few of those gals that used to like hanging around gangsters, huh?
Oh yeah, that was back in the day. If you were, seen with a wise guy, or if you had an affair, a woman had an affair with one, I could tell you a story about my friend Joe Fricano. It involved love. I don't know if anybody knows Love Majeski and all that. I could tell you stories about that too.
Tell us one.
Nah, I'm not gonna.
Not even one? Come on.
People
like to hear stories they've never heard before.
Joe Fricano was a chiropractor. Joe Fricano was also a heroin addict. He had a house on Toad Hill. And I met Joe Fricano because I was going to rob his safe. And I went to his safe in his room, and he had it in the floor. And he was getting high, and I'm not going to mention the other guy that was with me. And there was about $20,000 in the safe. Long story short, he caught me taking the money. He couldn't do nothing, so he said, "Here, give me 10,000. You could keep 10,000." God's honest truth. We went to a diner in Staten Island, and I met Love Majeski and some other girls, and we had a good time.
So let me get this straight, Danny. You're saying that you were robbing some guy's safe, and he agreed to give you 10,000 if you didn't rob him of the other 10,000.
Yeah, he agreed. He agreed because if he didn't, I would have hit him in the head with the vacuum.
Okay.
That happens to be a true story, believe it or not.
It sounds like a true story. I mean, so did you become friendly?
Hey, this guy had so much money. Listen to me. He had so much money that he hired a girl from Russia to play his fucking grand piano. I swear to God, my right hand. He's dead now, so I can talk. You can look him up. He was a really good chiropractor, but he had some drug addiction issues, and a wise guy who I'm not going to mention went to bat for him in Fort Lauderdale. He was driving his Volvo in Fort Lauderdale. He hit somebody. He jumped out of the car and ran. And anyway, he was a good guy. Let him rest in peace. His wife is still alive. She's a nice woman, and it is what it is.
Well, Danny, those are the stories we're trying to get out of Danny. Did you see I had to just push him for that story? That's a good story, Danny. So between Tony Sirico's balls and a man that will give you 10,000 not to rob his. I mean, those are.
Hey, he did. I swear on my son.
No,
he said we'll split it up. I said all right.
And
half a loaf is better than no loaf.
And you hung out with him?
I hung out the rest of. We went to a diner in Staten Island. We met two broads.
So after you took his money, you guys went to a diner.
Yeah, I swear to, and he paid for everything.
He had that much money.
Oh, forget about it. Money. He had a fucking mansion. Not a mansion. He had a fucking 4 or 5 bedroom home on Toad Hill.
That's a great story, though. So you guys went and met some girls that night, basically.
Yeah, this was in yeah. This is when I got out of prison.
And how? Oh, so you're talking? That was what 2007.
07. This is before Love became. And now, mind you, Love was going out with a half a wise guy that was a car thief, and that's another story, but that I'm not going to get into.
Well, come on, tell us.
Well, there was a sit down, and he was with somebody, and he threatened me, and anyway, he lost.
What happened when he threatened you?
Well, he essentially told me that I couldn't show my face anywhere, and lo and behold, I showed my face, and he tried to do something, and then there was a sit down, and he lost.
Oh, he lost.
And I'm not saying that because I was right. I was wrong, but he lost.
Okay, let's. I'll never forget Passion Harvest Sorrow when he got mad at Lee for not letting FBS in for the debate one day when Lee and FBS were feuding. During the Halcyon days of the mob. The truth.
What is that?
Come on, just watch the show and enjoy the show. We don't want to hear about old times. Okay. In this element, many start as kids. I stole my first car at 15. Don't judge me. Laugh out loud. I'm legit now. Yeah. You know, if I told you guys what I did at 18 and 19, they'll be making shows about it, but I don't talk about that. My uncle was murdered during the Colombo Wars in this is Church Avenue, Dan, during the Colombo Wars in 1992. I don't care what anyone says. Colombo's had all the killers. Would you agree with that?
Well, that was the gang that couldn't shoot straight, but they would shoot a squirrel off a fucking utility pole.
And see, that's what
killers. They didn't give a fuck. They'd shoot anything.
They were feuding amongst themselves. They were a very violent gang. Were they really the gang that couldn't shoot straight?
Well, that was Breslin. Breslin named them that.
Yeah, but these guys were killing people, including Wild Bill Catullo, and they had a war going on. People were being buried everywhere. So how could anybody really say that the Colombos couldn't shoot straight? It sounds like to me they were just pure killers.
There was a lot of misses too.
Yep. Well, isn't it that way in all mobs?
Well, it was like the Wild Wild West. You couldn't go outside. You'd have to go outside, fucking, looking every which way. You didn't know if you were going to get clipped.
Aldo says, Danny, did Danny return the money after he reformed?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that chiropractor's long gone, right?
No, he died, unfortunately. Listen, you want to laugh? Anyway, he was a good guy, and let him rest in peace. He was a good guy, even though I got 10 grand off him.
We want to laugh. Why did you stop the story? We want to laugh.
Because it's not really. It's not significant. The guy.
Let us be the judges.
The guy had issues, and even though he was a real heroin addict. He used to shoot up a bundle a day. And he still had a chiropractic practice. He lost his license, got his license back. And then they found out he had a brain tumor, and his wife found him dead in the bed. So he straightened his life out. He got his license back to be a chiropractor or a doctor, whatever you get. And, I think it was a year later he was dead. So.
Pepino says the gang that couldn't shoot straight was about the Gallo crew, wasn't it?
Well, Breslin wrote that, but it was also passed over to the Colombo crime family.
Okay. Hey, keep the politics out of here, the truth. You know where we stand, but we're trying to keep politics out of here. We want everybody in here. But the truth, you're being like a little rebel today, You've been here with me from the very beginning, just about. Brian Prest, how you doing? I remember columnist Jimmy Breslin, especially during the Son of Sam. I could never stand the guy. What do you think about that?
Well, a lot of people didn't like Breslin. A lot of the articles that he wrote, a lot of people didn't care for. They didn't care for. He was a drunk anyway. He was a fucking drunk. He got beat up in a bar by a half a wise guy. And anyway.
Jeff Nadeau, how you doing, Jeff? You're more than welcome to jump up here and talk about Ronnie. You're kind of an expert. I'm going to drop the link. I'm going to drop the link for you, Jeff Nadeau. Now, you're telling me you want to come on the show, so here's the link. Prove it. Prove that you want to come on this show, Jeff Nadeau. And jump up here and let's talk about Ronnie One Arm. You do know your shit, my man. Mafia history, unfortunate, was a huge fan, not anymore. I just hit like button. Oh, please hit the like button. You're absolutely right, people. Please hit the like button. We're just about at 200 now. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see. Mr. Vigazzi, we're getting into 30. We're getting it in the 30s next week, which is quite extreme. Some countries got it really bad. 30 degrees. What the hell? Oh, people, this is how important Jeff Nadeau is. Lee, you have to schedule with me. I'm on my way to dinner with a lady friend. Okay, so listen, pay her a few extra bucks to hang around a little bit longer, whatever it is that she's charging you, Jeff, and jump on up. You can even bring her with you. You can bring her into the show. Because I'm sure that she's probably, I'm guessing you pay about $1,200 an hour. But anyway, love you, Jeff. Jeff has that look like, I pay a lot of money for really hot hookers. He has that hot hooker look. The truth. Okay. Sit down, Mafia. I hope you're okay. If I'm not wrong, Jimmy Breslin tried to run for mayor in New York City and lost. I don't remember that. I'm not sure why he would run. And I was in New York at the time when Jimmy Breslin was pretty big. You don't remember Jimmy Breslin running for mayor, do you?
Jimmy Burke beat him up in a bar.
Jimmy Burke did?
Yeah.
Could you tell us what happened there?
Breslin was talking shit about him. Breslin was in a bar. Jimmy found out where he was, came in and choked him.
Jimmy Burke, as in the gangster Jimmy Burke.
Yeah. From the Varios. Yeah, he choked
from the Varios, right. So Jimmy Burke, did he get in trouble for it?
Who?
Jimmy Burke.
No, he didn't get in trouble. Breslin was a fucking drunk. He, whatever.
Oh boy, Jeff is going to come on and cry about the truth. Okay. Hey, Irish Mob. I'm going to give you my email. I'm going to put it in here right now. Please get a hold of me by email. I like to talk to you. Okay, there it is. Please get a hold of me. I like to talk to you. I like to get a show together with you. Okay. My third show and I'm hooked. Danny talking about Ozone Park in North Conduit brings back great memories. I lived in Rosedale, Queens for many years. Yes, and Danny's got some great stories, but unfortunately I got to pull them out of him. When I pull them out of him, they're always good stories. You got to take Danny out and drink with him and get him drunk to get good stories out of him. Is that how it works, Danny?
Yeah, sometimes.
Wrestling, if I'm not to start, try to run like the county commissioner or maybe like okay. Thank you, Amari management. Okay, here's a question. What do you guys think of Bruno Indocado being released in May, just gone? Do you think he'll be back in the mob or is he too old to do? What do you think about that? That's a good question.
Well, listen, Anthony is a real gangster. Who knows what he'll do? He's up in age. I don't know. These guys, if that's all but it's not like 30 or 40 years ago. So, even if they want to get back into it, what are they going to do?
And people, you got to understand when these guys come out of prison, especially if they're federal criminals, they got to wear all sorts of stuff. They're being tracked. It's not like it used to be. Danny, do you think how hard? Can you imagine how hard it is now for someone to get out of federal prison and go back?
Well, yeah, the guidelines have changed immensely from back in the day. The federal system has come a long way from 25 years ago. So it's more stricter now, and so a lot of these guys have lifetime parole. So who knows what the fuck they're gonna do? But in my opinion, that whole life and that whole thing is gone.
Anthony, we're in the middle of that conversation right now, talking about them. Tony Duck says, I think it's a possibility Bruno will eventually have a position in the administrations. See,
if he does, he's a fool.
Because you're going to go back to prison.
Come on, yeah. Listen, them days are gone, man. Them days are fucking long gone.
Okay,
in
now
my
we
opinion,
know,
anyway.
and we know Ronnie One Arm's in prison now. So, do you hear that he's quite sick now, or?
Yeah, I gotta get a phone call. Hang on.
Okay, I'll read some of this. Let's see.
Hello.
This can't be wrong. It's 30. You're talking about parents. Jeff's is big. Okay, I don't know. Hey, D Truth, do you got a good mob question? Just wondering. Why would an old timer want to go back to the streets when there is nothing left out there? CK, you couldn't have said it better. But unfortunately, there are some guys like that. That look at Gene Gotti. Gene Gotti came out.
No, that guy was there. He wrote.
Okay, I better mute him. You don't know what Danny's going to.
That's my.
You don't know what he's going to say. I don't want to take a chance of leaving him unmuted. One night I killed 15 guys in 15 minutes, John A. Light. For him to say that, like I said, for John A. Light to say that, even if it was true, John A. Light should keep his mouth shut. But he can't. He likes to bitch about everybody. And this guy's sitting in prison doing his time, not like John A. Light. John A. Light decided to become a rat. Those days are gone, but Bruno is a gangster. Listen, when these guys get out of prison, people, and Danny, you probably...
Gene Gotti's a gangster too. He ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, these guys, when they get out of prison, they stay gangster. It's in them. You just can't get rid of it, right?
Yeah, but you know what the problem is when you do 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, whatever the fuck it is, you become a different person. And what you were 25 years ago are not what you are when you get out. I mean, you still might have the mindset, but there's other factors that, you're not gonna do what you did 30 years ago. It's just not the era to do it in anymore. You can't.
There was a time where these guys got out of federal prison in the 80s, let's say. They would go right back to the streets, right?
Right.
And they even be on probation and go back to the street. So, in the 80s and 90s, you had guys that say they had 5 years probation. They got out and they still go right back to what they're doing. And back then the feds knew it, but they couldn't do the things they can do now. It's so much easier for them to catch you now. Okay. Tony Ducks, don't make them like my father anymore. No, people, do you think that our fathers would be on YouTube talking about people's families and talking about people's children's? No. I mean, it's a whole different culture. It's a whole different culture, people. Okay, someone had wrote something up here. I just missed it. I want to get back to, but it was meant for you, Danny. Michael, how do you say that last name?
Chuccio.
Michael Chuccio. I would have said Sacchio. See, you bailed me out on that one. Before I started the show today, I was saying to Danny, how do you say true?
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that, pal.
Well, he says, I love Danny. Handles himself. None of the nitwits have anything bad to say about. Great guy. Yeah. But you know what? He probably gets more compliments than anybody right now on this. There's so many people that have so many enemies on here. I would say Danny probably gets the least amount of the garbage. But people hate me with so much passions, they judge Danny. See, Danny, what they're basically thinking is about you. It's the company you keep.
Yeah, well.
I'm the company.
That goes both ways, so.
Okay. Benny over. Danny, you got cheap pizza so scared he was MB chat.
Yeah, he should be scared. He's a weasel, and he's a low life skell, and that's all he'll ever be. Look at he's 50-something years old, and he's on a YouTube channel begging like a degenerate drug addict.
Well, talking about begging, I'm going to do some begging right now. What do you think, Danny? Can I beg?
Absolutely. People don't like when you beg, so beg more.
Okay, I'm going to do some begging. There's some begging right there. If you want to send me a Cash App, send it to Lee and Danny Podcast at Cash App. If you want to send me a Venmo, it's Lee Cole and Danny Trio at Venmo. How's that? We'll be talking about begging tomorrow. Okay. Brian Press says Danny's 100% right. Too much yenter ailing. Is that how you say it? Yenter ailing?
Yeah, the old Jews, they used the yentas, you know, they know who's coming in the door, who's walking down the block. They know everything.
You got some people on here that's all they do is come on here all day and talk. It's like this is their life.
You know, that's amazing. I mean, I got to go to work. I mean, how do people stay on this fucking thing day and night? I don't know how they do it. They pick their feet. They pick their mouths. They're on this fucking thing here.
Jim Martin, a $10 super sticker. Thank you, Jim
Thanks
Martin.
a lot, Jim.
It's
Thank
very
you, pal.
much appreciated. Yeah, well, and that's the thing, though, people. The ones that are on here the longest are the ones that, when you have no life, you need to come on here and say a bunch of things because you have no life. It's like, get a life. If you're on here all day and this is what you talk about, if you're on the phone, picking the phone up to talk to people all day about this, you really need to do something else. We do how many shows a week? Danny and I do 3 shows a week, people. You know why we do 3 shows a week? Danny, can we actually do more than that when you really think about it?
I could, but I got to go to work.
And the difference between, you know, this is kind of like a job to me lately, whereas with Danny, it's more of a, what do you consider this? Like just a hobby?
I'm a sidekick. I'm like you, the little kid you give a noogie to.
I'm not giving you a noogie. Okay. Okay, you guys heard that. Danny wants a noogie from somebody. Interesting show on Ronnie. I knew him well. Oh, I'm sorry. We already read that one a long time ago. Devil Seller. I don't know how to say that last name, my man. Lee, this was a compliment. You two remind me of Statler and Waldorf looking at the Muppet Show and saying all the shows suck, no content.
Well, you know what? You could beat it off this show and go see where you got to go because you sound like a fucking dummy.
Sorry, that wasn't me. That was old Danny. So I'm holding back, people. I'm holding back here.
People are sick.
I don't even know what the hell he was talking about.
He don't either.
Wrestling, if I'm not, okay. I'm sorry, I fell behind, people. I'm going to catch up here right now.
Start going all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, but if I go all the way to the bottom, then I run out of comments. I got to pick it just right.
Well, all you're doing is repeating the ones you read.
I could do that. Harvest of the Sow at Lee Cole Danny. It's YouTube, Lee. You're here too. Okay. Harvest of the Sow. I don't get that. But anyway, Arthur, how you doing, my man? I seen that you said hello before. Glad that you're in here.
What's up, Arthur?
And Arthur's good people. There was a time that Arthur and I did not talk for like maybe 7 months. We hated each other. Now that's several months ago, people. I mean, 3 months now. So it's good to have Arthur getting along with him. Ligo, what are your thoughts on the MRE roast coming your way last time you cried? Okay, so what's the point? He could roast me all he wants, people. Do you understand? I will not watch it. That's it. And see, that's probably someone associated with MRE that came in here. Now, as long as you sub and come here, that's good. Steve Sanderosa, $50. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks
so
a lot,
much.
Steve.
It's
Very
greatly
much
appreciated.
man. Thank you.
Arthur Stewell's a good guy. He tells you something, you can count on it. Yep. Good to get along with Lee. Glad. I'm sorry. It's going good, Arthur. And yes, thank you. Steve Sanderosa is a great guy. I mean, he comes in, he has his shows that he donates to, and it's not just one or two shows. Steve likes to help people out, and he does it all the time. I mean, you can't ask for more than that. You know, if I had the money, you know, I like to donate to shows at time, but unfortunately, I don't have the money to do it like some people do. Okay. Okay, so Ronnie Trucchio, why do you think he would even be involved with a guy though like John A. Light?
Involved with who?
John A. Light. Because in the 80s they did work the
Well,
street.
you got to understand, John A. Light was a leech. He was a hangaround. You know, he was essentially a do boy. He was a nickel and bag drug dealer. He knew John Gotti's son for a couple of years, and you know, he acts like he knew him all his life. And anyway, you know, he was around them. You know, he was from that neighborhood, Woodhaven Boulevard, I think he was from, or whatever the fuck he was from. But you know, that's what happens when you're in that realm. You gravitate to where things are happening. But he was a nobody. He's still a nobody. He's another skell.
Brian Press, you stole my info and I corrected mine, but you kept the error. I think they had Paul O'Dwyer on the ticket for city council president. Hey, people, while I'm here, I got to talk about something else. I want to apologize to somebody. Darren and Darren 4, he's on here. And about 2 months, about a month ago on the SoFlo show, I made a statement about him. And you got to clear something up when something's wrong. There were some false allegations. And this is where I'm totally wrong because I should have handled it better. So there were some allegations about Darren that came out that someone put out there. Someone that should know better. There's a lot of people on these sites. And some people listen to more. But Darren is not a snitch. The information was wrong. But what I should have done, and I'm not going to make this mistake again, I will not come out and ever do that again. And Darren, I offer you my apology. And Danny, is there anything you want to say on that?
About him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Okay, so we're just going to say that, Darren. I hope that's good enough, but we're doing the right thing. And Darren C4, can't be wrong. I did apologize to him, but I didn't apologize to him on my show, and I told him I was gonna. So that was on SoFlo show. So I just wanted to do it here. Okay. For someone who grew up in Queens when I was older, amazed at how some of the petty anti-crap they get into. A-Light claimed to be a big drug dealer, but didn't know that a kilo is 2.2 pounds. He said a kilo is 1 pound.
Well, there you go. The guy's a complete fucking nitwit. So the proof
Maybe
is
that's
in the
why.
pudding.
Maybe that's why he was unsuccessful.
Well, according to him, John Gotti called him from the Raven and told him to meet him at the Raven night after Castellano was killed.
Yeah, and people gave him a kilo of a pound and said it's a kilo, and he was supposed to be getting 2.2 pounds. So maybe someone was ripping John A-Light off. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay. Anthony Magnolo, Lee, you don't know 3 things about Ronnie One Arm. Okay, said
Lee, invite him on and let's hear what he's got to say.
Yeah, Anthony, I'll drop the link, and why don't you come on and tell me
everything about Ronnie?
Yeah. Or better yet, I got a better idea. You can start a channel. be successful, and let everybody know 3 things, because we told you about 10 things. But the guys that bitch the most. Okay, let's see. Laugh out like, okay. A-Light thought a kilo was 1 pound. Shows that A-Light doesn't know about the metric system.
Yeah, big drug dealer.
Okay, Danny and I haven't gotten in touch with Lee about getting your information yet. I spoke to you about Joe Fish, and they mentioned the other day.
Yeah, do me a favor, Lee. Just give him my phone number. He
Okay.
used to shovel snow at my house.
Okay, so whenever you want to, I don't know, how am I going to get on my phone number? Your phone, I don't want to put it out here or anything.
Oh, all right. Well, put your email up there.
I did.
So he could.
Okay, Miss Can't Be Wrong, can you put my email up if you don't mind? But you contact me at my email, and I'll get that information to you. Ronald Messy Marvin should start his own podcast and tell Bath Avenue stories. Okay, well, see, that's the thing, though. People like to insult people, but we're here doing well on this show, and it burns people up. It burns people up. So what we're going to do from now on, we're not going to watch any of these other shows.
I never did.
Yeah. So people can say whatever they want to say. But the fact of the matter is, every day when I get up, there's more subs here. Honest subs. Not like certain people do it. We earn what we get here. And it burns people up. And another thing. If someone's going to do a show about me, that's because they're a coward. They wouldn't pick up the phone and say anything. Those are the wimpiest people going. But if someone hits my family, I will hit their family too. That's a promise, especially when I have all the information I need. Take that to the bank. I knew good. He was a funny kid. I knew him good. He was a funny kid. He would snap out. Okay, well, there's my email right here. Lee Cole's email, leecole1010@gmail.com. Danny, have you ever met Sonny or Michael Franzese?
I met Michael Franzese in Long Island in West Islip.
Was he at that time involved?
Yeah, he was with my uncle. Well, my uncle was with him.
Was he friendly?
He said hello and walked right by me, so I don't know.
So he did the gangster thing. He said hello and walked right by you.
Whatever he is. He's, whatever.
Okay. Yes, subscribe, people. We just hit 4,500. We'd like to get to 5,000 and keep on growing, piss people off. That's all we ask you to do. Help us piss people off. Help us grow our channel, because without you guys, we can't do it. Every day we get up 10, 15, 20 every day, and it burns people, burns them. Been subscribed since the beginning. And Dizzy, it's greatly appreciated. I mean, this show has had its ups and downs, but it's never went backwards. And when Danny joined, it's just went forward much quicker. People want content. So we're going to come on here and give you best content we could possibly give you. And we're going to give you interviews, real interviews. So what these people that are doing right now, try to do interviews. See if you're any good at it. See, the problem is the people that like to talk a lot of smack around here, they won't do interviews because they're not good at it. They wouldn't even know what to say. Okay. Do you think John Gotti would have snitched if Shoe was on the other foot? Absolutely not. What do you think, Danny?
I echo that. Absolutely not.
There's no way. Why? The Shoe on what foot? Sammy's foot? Sammy, come on. That's just an excuse. Sammy always had it in him where he was going to rat. Would you say that, Danny? He had that rat already in him And
Yeah.
when it happened,
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Listen, he knew what he was going to do. You know, as soon as he got locked up, he knew this was it. And of course, he was going to do what he's going to do. Again, to what I said many, many times, there's always an excuse why. And Sammy the Bull's excuse was John Gotti.
Yeah, exactly.
And if it wasn't John Gotti, it would have been Snoopy or Charlie Brown, somebody else.
Hey, Bill K, I just told you we're trying to stay away from the BS drama. I'm not going to talk about that. That's been talked about already. Went fishing with Ronnie one arm, but he continuously rode.
That's
You
fucked
guys
up.
My beautiful sister, Gotti was a man's man, never a rat. Hey, Joan, accusing of these, according to these people, my family don't talk to me. That's my lovely sister, Joan, by the way. Now, Joan, they're going to try to get a hold of you. So make sure you don't have your phone number out and stuff or anything like that. Joan's been with me from the very beginning, my lovely sister. So Joan and I, we grew up together and we went to school together. We're 1 year apart. And now she's living down in Florida. Recently, I tried to hook her up with Danny, but Danny says he doesn't like him over 20.
Yeah, a 20-year-old would kill me.
Just kidding, Joan. Joan's happily married. I'm saying that, Joan, just in case Scott's watching right now. Okay. No way would Gotti, the father, ever flip. He wouldn't flip. It was a dumb question. Not a dumb question. Yeah, it was kind of a dumb question. I think John Gotti's proven that he's not a snitch. I mean, how many times has he got to prove it? The man died in prison. But see, that's what Sammy people like to say. That's what Sammy fans like to say. If the shoe was on the other foot. Oh, Joan, get the hell out of here. My family talks to me. According to them, Joan, I'm a no good bastard. You know, that's the big thing. You know, I'm no good. My family hates me. My sons hate me. Everything, sis. That's the shit I got to put up with these fucking weirdos, especially people. And when people that, Joan, here's another question, people. You know what's weird in this world? A 40-year-old man that has no children or no girlfriend. That's what's weird. Danny, what do you think if you're 40 and you don't have a girlfriend or?
Could be some antisocial issues. Could be all kinds of things. Could be got a little sugar in your tank. There's all kinds of reasons why people at that age.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, John, I'll talk to you about what these scumbags do sometimes. But there's a lot of things, sis, I don't tell you because they're so low. They come up with stories. I'm a kidnapper, Joan. I'm a child molester, Joan. I'm all those things. This is what you get when you're on here. So if you want to contact and find out how many children I have molested, get a hold of Joan Owen. She knows. She has the exact figure. She has it in her black book. Sorry, Joan. I put you on today and just embarrassed the shit out of you. No, I didn't. But here's what's going to happen now. People are going to try to get a hold of you. Don't answer no phone calls. Don't open no emails. Joan Owen, Miss Joan, you are lovely. Miss can't be wrong. She's the best sister a man can have. She's such a great sister. When I was a kid and I had no place to stay, she would open up her door. When I got married, my first marriage, I got married and had no place to stay, Danny. Who the fuck does that? You know? So my sister lived in Astoria, Queens in a 1-bedroom apartment. And me and my wife moved in with her. And my wife and I slept in her room and she slept out on the couch. That's what kind of sister I have. And I could tell you 1,000 other stories of things she's done in my life for me. So when people talk about who has family and stuff, you know, there's always some family members I may not get along with, but the ones I do get along with, I'm really close to. Okay, Sis says, your sister is real cute. Oh my gosh, she was back in the day. Gosh almighty. Don't get me wrong, she's still cute, but she's a year older than me, you know. So now she's 49. Okay. Right, Sis, you're 49? I was kind of teasing, but I did find a post info similar. I deleted the comment. I don't know what you're talking about. Brooklyn Day. Danny, what do you think about Nicky Carrazzo and the Canarsie crew and their relevance?
Oh, it was huge. You know, Nicky was a good guy, still a good guy. Yanati, all them guys from Canarsie. But Nicky, his brother, Blaze, they were all good guys.
And would you say
Nicky, he was slated to be the boss at one time. So.
And what happened? Why didn't he become a boss?
Well, it's politics. You know, it's politics.
Do you know any stories behind why? I mean, was it
no?
Was it a beef with a certain person?
Well, there is some noise in the background that proved to be one of the reasons. Yes.
Okay, but you don't want to share that.
Nah, because people don't understand.
Joan said yes, she's 49. Joan, remember when you were 49? Just think about it. I love my sister, but when she was growing up, she used to have a lot of boyfriends. But anyway. Kidding, Joan. Okay. I do not have wrenches, but Miss can't be wrong. So what if you had wrenches everywhere? So what? Don't even give them the time of day, you know? Bill, I know what it's like to have nowhere to stay. I lived under a bridge in the hood at the age of 13 years old. Parents hated me and threw me out. And Bill, the same thing.
Look at you now, Bill. Look at you now. So, you know, nobody should have to endure that. But you know what? You're a better person now. You got a business. You know what I'm saying? So good for you.
And when I was a kid, Bill, and my sister Joan could tell you this, my mother used to kick me out of the house when I was 8 years old, lock the door, and not let me back in until night. I would wander the streets everywhere. But just think about that, doing that to an 8-year-old child. I mean, it made me understand the streets because I was always out in the streets, Bill. But you know, I know exactly what you mean now. And I'm glad to see that you bought a beautiful motorcycle. What do you think about this? Gambino is a Zip family.
Gambino was a Zip family?
I don't understand what that means. Do you?
Well, he's talking about the people overseas, you know, that come over. I don't know. Bananas were more a Zip family than Gambinos. Yeah.
Wasn't the Genovese have some from?
He's referring to Cherry Hill, you know, Rosario and all them guys, you know, Joe Gambino, John Gambino.
Do you know? Do you think that the Sicilian mob back in the 80s and 90s had a lot more people in these families than people think they had?
Well, it's been proven they have. A lot of people that were involved in a lot of these crime families weren't even recognized, you know, back in the day. And a lot of them, you know, came from Sicily and or other parts of Italy that were, you know, eventually made in Cosa Nostra in the United States. But there's tons of articles, you know, on the internet that you guys can look up. And Gambino, Bonanno, all of them. There's all different factions and different guys that came over and became made members.
And they were involved in a very big hit too, right? When they set up, who was it they set up again? I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart. The guy with the cigar they shot on the building.
Yeah.
Do you think Tommy Karate ever get out of jail. No, I don't think so.
Nah, he'll never get out.
He's doing life, and that's, you got to give a lot of these guys credit. I mean, they go to prison and they know they're doing life, and that's it. They move on. Tommy Karate is one of the easiest guys to write to, where he'll write back to you. Just so you know, people know that if you ever want to write somebody, Tommy Karate is the guy to write, because he will answer you. That's what I've heard. I know a lot of people that got letters from him. Have you heard that also, Danny, about Tommy Karate?
Well, he'll write you back. He's also, if anybody wants to buy something from Tommy, he's a very accomplished artist. You can go and look Tommy Karate artwork, look it up. He sells some really intriguing pieces, and I would advise people to go buy some. And
is that the name of? If you Google Tommy Karate artwork, it will pop up. That's very interesting. I didn't know that. See that you keep on learning in this, people. Lee, if you could survive the streets, you'll survive anywhere, or should I say, you will adapt anywhere? Exactly. It's like being a chameleon. As scummy and low life as Tony Pizza is, if the world ended tomorrow and you had to live in the woods, the chances are he's going to live, and most of the people around him aren't.
Well, no, he'll just revert to digging out of garbage pails.
Yeah,
you'll see him in a dumpster.
He's eating out of them.
He'll have nobody to send him money.
Bob, you're taking me too literally, Bob. Okay. Bob, what do you mean credit? They're in prison. Here's what I mean by credit, Bob. They went to prison, Bob, and they did not snitch. They took their sentence. They had an opportunity. Most of these guys, that's what I mean by giving credit. And you're right. They're not like the working man. There's no doubt. None of these guys are. People would talk about how great they are, but these are guys that in general would come home 6 o'clock in the morning, sleep to 2 o'clock, and go back out and ignore their family. That was your typical made man or associate. But these guys that were associates and stuff, wasn't their attitude that their family on the streets come before their home family at home?
Well, not so much with associates. It's more of a made member thing, but the believe it or not, the associates were the backbone of the mob. A lot of people may disagree.
No, it's the truth.
A lot of these guys did all the legwork.
And those are the guys that don't get the credit. It's like the soldier on the ground. It's like the nurses. I mean, you don't hear about the little guys doing everything. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to compare them to nurses. I'm saying it's just like the people that on top, like doctors. Doctors get all the credit. Nurses do all the work. 90% of the work. You can't handle the truth. Tommy Karate was an artist with set off knives. He chopped up an innocent. Okay, he chopped up an innocent woman's head and stored it in the fridge. Okay, but I don't get it. He's in prison for life for what he did. He's in prison for life. He didn't get away with it, did he? The poor woman's dead, but he didn't get away with it. Lee, no disrespect. You're a hillbilly from Texas. What do you know about the mob? And don't tell me you worked at Skateros. Anthony, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to throw you out of here, and you're going to have to get a new ID to come back. But I'm going to let Miss Can't Be Wrong do it. Miss Can't Be Wrong, can you block Anthony forever? Because he can't ask a good question. He comes in there hating. Do you have anything to say to Anthony before he leaves?
Well, he had an opportunity to come on. Why don't he come on and express himself? Anybody could talk shit. Come in, show your face, and debate.
And hillbillies are like from upstate New York, and you don't have really too many hillbillies. And your hillbilly thing is redneck thing. It's totally off. There's not that many hillbillies in Texas. Anyway, I grew up in New York, dickhead. Okay. Did you take care of that, Miss Can't Be Wrong? Did you zap that prick? People think you know me by, you see, they would be shocked. No, Miss Can't Be, I wouldn't be shocked, Miss Can't Be Wrong. Who knows what you do? You might have a home business where you just are able to have these shows on and do what you want to do. Nobody knows what you do. And what does it matter? Here's what my sister said. Anthony M. Lee is far from a hillbilly. Yes, Joan. You know, they don't realize. Joan, where did we live? We lived in Astoria, Queens, Brooklyn. Weren't you over my houses and stuff? And vice versa when I lived in New York City? My sister used to take her kids to Manhattan to a private school. She would go out and bust her ass and make her money. And half her paycheck would go toward her child's schooling because she wanted to put her daughter, her spoiled little bratty daughter, who's now big and bratty, in a private school. You know, and that's why you always give her credit. Oh, but I got to tell another story. My sister Joan, when she was single, she worked at this law firm in Manhattan. I think it was like the 40th or 50th floor. And she fell in love with the window washer. She's on the 40th floor and she looks out the window and the guy's there washing the windows. He's going down with the squeegee. And my sister invited him home and told him to bring his squeegee. But that's it, Joan. I won't talk about Squeegee Man anymore. Do you think, Danny, do you think Teddy P will take the reins for his family, or are people too scared to let him take the family?
Well, he did more time in prison than out on the street. But, you know, if that's the talk, you know what I mean? Teddy was supposed to become the, you know, heir apparent, but who knows? Only time will tell.
Upstate New York, laugh out loud. Upstate New York. Hey, Bill, I used to live in two areas in upstate New York. I used to live in, and this is when I was on the run from the law. I used to live in Utica and Syracuse. That was my favorite hiding grounds. OG Mike D, does Danny still keep pigeons? I've been raising them for 35 years or more.
When I first moved here, I had some, but I joined the Spring Hill Homing Pigeon Club, and I had to leave because they called the police on me.
Do you want to get into what you did?
Nope.
Did you steal someone's pigeons?
No. It was
someone say something wrong to you, Danny?
It was a little worse than that.
Was it? Did somebody say something wrong to you?
No, but I did have pigeons here. But I belong to the unit. I used to belong to the Unit 10 Spring Hill Homing Club, and my uncle, that's deceased now, he was also a member, and he died, and I got into an argument with somebody, and it didn't go well, and for him, and I was, lo and behold, kicked out. Okay.
I'm guessing that he wanted to fight you.
And I'll just tell, what was the guy's name? Can you see his name?
Oh, I went off his name. I'm sorry. I didn't mind.
I had Huskin Van Reels. I had Hanseens. I had Jansen's. What else did I have? I had I think they were the main family that I had.
XX says a very, very good remark, and this happens to a lot of guys that we think have money. Ronnie represented himself at his federal trial due to the lack of funds. Not saying that with any disrespect at all. Like I said, Ronnie was a man's man. Just the government can break you. So, you know, do you think it's a myth when they talk about a lot of these captains and guys that go to prison? And
well, let me just say this. You know, a lot of people have a misconception about mob guys. And the misconception is that they all have money. And I don't know if everybody believes that or they don't believe that, but 90% of them are brokesters. They don't have a pot to piss in or throw it out. The people that have the money, obviously, are the bosses because everybody kicks up. But, you know, there's very few soldiers that are remarkably wealthy. Very few, if any. Most of them are just dead broke.
And what do they hope for? Like once or twice a year, they get that big score?
Well, it's not even that. You know, even if they get a big score, you know, there's so much money that has to be delved out. And, you know, if you're not in that crowd, in other words, if you're not part of something, you know, part of that establishment, the upper echelon, you know, you're going to get shit. Yeah, you'll get a few, but you're not going to get, you know, what you should get. You know, it's a doggy dog world. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's why a lot of guys hold out. You know what I mean?
I was going to ask you that. How
Well, that was
often did you see
the
guys
guy
hold
Mike.
out?
All right.
How often did you see
Huh?
guys hold out?
Oh, a lot of them did. You know, later on, you know, and then again, it goes to the bosses. You know, who allows people to make money. I know a captain right now. Well, he's not a captain anymore, but he's bigger than that. He treated all his soldiers like they were gods. Nobody wanted in his crew, and that's the way to do it. When you're hungry like that and you're not making any money, you know what happens? Your mind starts to wander, if you know what I'm saying.
And whether you like Michael Franzese or not, didn't he take good care of the people around him?
Oh, he did. They made more money than Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? You know, my uncle never liked him. My uncle told me he couldn't stand him, but he made money with him. So,
well, doesn't that say a little bit something about Franzese if he made sure that he kept the people around him with money?
well, listen, Michael Franzese was not a gangster. Michael Franzese was not a gangster. Michael Franzese was a guy that knew how to manipulate, knew how to make money, and he did. You can't take that away from him, but he's still a piece of shit.
Danny, is it safe to say that Albanians have stepped in to take care of a lot of the legwork, knowing Italians are constantly being watched?
Well, listen, I don't know. I've been out of that part of that life, or whatever you want to call it. The Albanians years ago were scatterbrains. They were, you know, and I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way. They weren't a bunch of organized guys, you know, like the Italian mafia, you know. But yeah, of course, the Italians used them. You know, one in point was a guy named Zef Mustafa, who was probably one of the well-known Albanians and very well respected in the Gambino crime family. You know, he was a true blue gangster. He was Albanian, and he loved the Gottis. He loved the Gambino crime family. He's a guy he was a true guy with a baseball bat. He would break your skull open with a bat. Anyway, you know, he got convicted of a murder. He got charged with a murder. He was later acquitted. He was from the Bronx, and he was a 100% gangster and a stand-up guy, and he's still alive today.
And it's the thing, though, if he was coming after you with a baseball bat, it wasn't like John A. Light.
It wasn't like John A. Light.
Yeah, he was going to break your bones and
with silky drawers.
A matter of fact, he got in trouble with one guy that I believe that's the charge you're talking about. Say that name for people again.
Zef Mustafa.
Zef Mustafa. And was he couldn't be an associate, so he was basically, what would you consider him?
Well, he was an associate, absolutely. He was a Gambino crime family associate. I think he was in Locasio's crew, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But he was a legitimate tough guy. He was around a lot of guys, made a lot of money.
Yeah, and Don Vito says there's no such thing as the Albanian mafia. Well, they're just different independent Albanian gangs. Absolutely, Don Vito, you're absolutely right. But here's what's happening right now. John A. Light's been going to Albania, and he's been putting them together, and he's going to turn them into the mafia. And John A. Light's going to be their leader.
Yeah.
Okay, I just had to put that story out there. What the hell? Prince of the City 1. My grandpa and uncle were Gumbadi, Gunnar Windblom. Okay. Jeremy Smith. Seems like Michael Franzese tried hard at changing his life. Do people just believe it sincere? Well, we did a video on him. I'll tell you what, I'm going to be honest with you. Out of all the videos we ever did, the one that people hit us off the most, the worst amount of likes was the one we did on John A. Light. But the one not John A. Light, I'm sorry. Forgive me, I did not mean to say that, Michael Franzese. Is on Michael Franzese. Why do you think that, like, we could do a video on Sammy Gavano and it'll get 90%, 85%. But if we do one on Franzese, Danny, the reality is half the people that watch it are going to go after you. Why do you think that is?
Well, because listen, Michael Franzese is a phony. He uses the God bullshit. Michael Franzese found a notch for himself, and all his little fanboy minions that follow him, and you can't say nothing about Michael. Michael is a complete fallacy. What you see is not who Michael Franzese is. But, you know, you're the people that make Michael Franzese. All you people that sub to his channel, which is, you know, you could do what you want, but all you people that believe his rhetoric and that he's born again and he's this fucking savior coming over the fucking hill with the cross, that's all garbage. It's all bullshit. But, you know, you can't lead a horse to water. Michael Franzese is a phony. His family knows he's a phony. The only reason they're there is because of what? Scott-O. That's why they're there. Because without Michael Franzese, they don't have anything.
And we did a video basically on, we actually had recordings, and we have, and from what I understand, there's many more out there, right, Danny?
Yeah, there's like 50 of them. And you listen.
Even
you
with the recordings, people didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, you guys can say they're bullshit. It's a lie. It's all made up. It's bullshit. That's fine. But they're absolutely 100% real.
Okay. Bill K., do you know if John Gotti Sr. was close to his father? I'm not going to answer that question because I don't know the answer. You know, I'll be honest with you. But
well, in his own words, he talks about his father. You know, he says his father was no good. You know, that's coming from John Sr., John Gotti. So, well, you know.
Yeah. Well, if John Gotti Sr. says it, it must mean that he was no good. I mean, but I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to talk about someone's grandpa. Yep. Franzese has the biggest following, which leaves room for all walks of life. A lot of suckers in that audience, as well as a lot of decent people. Absolutely. Would you agree with that?
Well, sure. I mean, you know, hey, listen. Everybody loved Harvey Weinstein until they found out what he was.
Yeah, every actor loved it. Yeah, but you know, but Raul, you're right though. There's a lot of good people watching it. There's a lot of good people watching Sammy Gavano.
Yeah, but you got to understand something. You can't believe everything you hear. And I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about Michael Franzese. Listen, anybody can go and do their due diligence and find things out about Michael Franzese that he doesn't want you to know about. You still like him, that's your business. But listen, my uncle was involved with Michael Franzese. My uncle was in his crew. My uncle made a lot of money with Michael Franzese. My uncle didn't like Michael Franzese. That's all I'm saying. So if anybody else has anything else to say contrary to that, you're full of shit.
What was your uncle's main reason for not liking him? Was there like...
He didn't like Michael Franzese because Michael Franzese thought who the fuck he was. Michael Franzese could do no wrong. Michael Franzese was just a not a likable guy. But he needed people to make that windmill turn. And don't forget, Michael Franzese did not come up with the gas scheme. He did not. He fell into it and he made it what it was, but he never found it.
And who started the gas scheme? Do you know?
Ori, I can't pronounce his name. Fat Larry.
Fat Larry was his name? And he started.
And my cousin was an administrator in the bank that they laundered the money through. My cousin. He's dead now.
So the bank knew this money was coming through?
Well, through my cousin. My Uncle Vinny gave it to my cousin, and my cousin funneled it through a bank.
And the bank knew what it was. They just were keeping their mouth shut, basically. Because
well, I don't know if the bank knew. My cousin knew.
It was a lot of money. I mean, how could the bank not know with that much money, right?
It was tons of money, and they were trying to clean it.
And yes, people, if you're in Michael Franzese, we have no opinion of you. We have less opinion of you if you're in Sammy Gavano's room. I'll be totally honest with you, because Sammy Gavano is Sammy Gavano. I mean, have you guys seen him lately? He has tattooed eyebrows. Did you see his tattooed eyebrows? He doesn't have them big.
No, I didn't see it.
As a matter of fact, he asked Danny if Danny wanted to share some of his eyebrows with him.
Right, yeah, Danny? No, I give him some. Yeah.
He has to come see you to get them, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Scott H., we all knew him long before we heard of Danny. No disrespect, he's got more irons in the fire than a cattle rancher. Well, Scott, he does, but people give him money. I mean, do you guys understand that by him having a church, how much money he could funnel and save through taxes?
Well, he don't pay taxes. He still owes the government millions of dollars.
Never paid it back.
Huh?
He never paid that money back.
He's still a rat. You people say because nobody went to jail, he's a rat, but people did go to jail. Listen, all you got to do is look it up. There's FBI memorandums and FBI 302s. They're on the internet. Look them up, read them. And then if you still want to, agree with Michael Franzese, go right ahead. But at least know what you're dealing with. So it is what it is.
I look at Michael Franzese like this. One thing that people can't take away from Michael Franzese is that he's a hustler and he's been a hustler his whole life. And he knows how to make money. And this is a new hustle. YouTube fell in the laps of people like Michael Franzese. YouTube fell in the lap of
but he's so irrelevant when he talks about the mob. He talks about what's going on now. He has no clue. He has no fucking clue. Just like I have no clue. I can't talk about what's going on now. I have no fucking clue. But when I was back in the day, I knew, I was out there. I knew. So, what he says now is an opinion, just like I have an opinion. But, people think because Michael Franzese says it, it's got to be true.
That's right, Miss Can't Be Wrong. If the boss is greedy, boss like Joe Profaci, you might have a kick up of 80%. That's what the first Gallo-Profaci war was over. Is that what the first Gallo-Profaci war was? The money being kicked up to Profaci?
Yeah, it was, and it was more than that too. But that was the catalyst that began.
And Gallo wanted the bigger piece of the pie, basically.
Well, whatever it was, and that's why they broke off, and Gallo went this way, and Profaci wanted him dead, and all this other shit. Stephen
Bally says, Franzese is going to part the Red Sea next month, live on the air. Stephen, I couldn't say it because you said it perfectly. I love when people say, oh, he's found God, but they don't go and listen to all the affairs that he's had recently, people.
And, people will say, well, what, that's nobody's business. It goes to who he is. Everybody says this guy is, righteous and he's got God. And don't you talk about Michael Franzese? So you all can go screw.
Okay. Michael Franzese did something right. Yes. Hustlers find suckers. It's that bad. It's just like Sammy Gavano. That's what it is.
What did he do right?
No, to make money now.
Yeah, well, that's all he could do. He couldn't do anything else.
Franzese hasn't been in the streets since he went to prison in 1985. It's almost 40 years removed. He doesn't anything that's going on today.
No, he knows nothing. Nothing.
And can we ever say he was really in the streets?
Well, he was, in the sense that, he was out there. But listen, he was never a gangster. He was never a tough guy. He was a money maker. He fell into the gas scheme, and that's how he made millions.
I'm from Church Avenue, and we called it Gallo Land territory. Okay, let me see. I'm keeping up today, people, on these things. Thank goodness. Doesn't Franzese still owe them? Yes, Mr.
Yeah.
He owes that. That's how you know he's still active with them. He owes all this money, and he's never. Usually, if you owe the government a couple $1 million, Danny, when did they come to say, "Look, we want our money"?
Well, I'm not privy to what all I do is the transcript said he had his nut was I don't know how many millions of dollars that he was responsible for paying back. Now, I don't know if that money was ever the government ever excused him for paying it. To my understanding, he still owes the money. So, it is what it is.
Sonny how true is this? Sonny Francis, driver and good friend to Sonny for over 50 years, and Michael Francis put him in jail by giving evidence against him. Let's have it right, boys. Do you know anything about that, Danny?
Yeah, he went to jail. He testified against him, and people say that Michael Francis didn't testify against anybody.
Well, we know.
I mean, listen, it's out there. All you got to do is dig. But people don't want to dig because it crushes their bubble about Michael Francis. Michael Francis was a rat. Michael Francis is a rat, period. Just when he yelled at Sammy saying, "I'm not a rat," he is a rat. And then he tells people to go look. The FBI transcripts are right there. Anybody can read them online.
And no matter what you think of Sammy did call him out on that. I liked when he said that he'll pray for you.
If you have a 302, a proffer, if you have any contact with the government in regards to something you did or something that somebody did, you're a federal informant, period. I don't give a fuck which way you define it or you look it up. If you sit down with the government and you agree to tell the government things you did for a less of a sentence, or that people did things and you volunteer information, you are a cooperating informant. Period. You can't define it any other way.
There's no in between, people. It's like, you can't say you didn't put people away or whatever. If you did a 302, you literally have to go in the room and sit down with the government.
Right.
You got to sit down at a table and you got to start giving them stuff they want to hear. Otherwise, they won't even do the 302. They'll kick you right out. No respect for a man that would let that happen to his mother. Just sickening. I don't know what you're talking about there. Do you know what she's talking about there?
No.
Okay. Sometimes, Miss Can't Be Wrong, we walking on the conversation, and Michael was making $19 payments on $20 million. Yeah. $19 payments on 20.
Yeah.
His whole
so there
life.
You go, guys. There's your knight in shining armor, $19.
And that was from Gennaro Ascol. How do you say that last name?
I didn't see it. Acolisi.
No, Ascol. I like the middle of
Ascolisi.
it. There's a C-O-L-E in the middle of it. Maybe I'm part Italian. No, I'm not. Not even close. Don Vito. So John Jr. is a rat. Okay.
Anybody that sits down with the government and has a proffer and a 302 is a cooperating informant. Absolutely.
I'm not going to lie here, people. Danny's saying what he's saying because that's the way life is. Proffering is ratting 100%. Hey, Church Ave Dan, you've been asking a lot of good questions. We appreciate it. You've been keeping us on our toes. You've asked us quite a few. Thank you. I haven't seen you, unless you were in here on another name, I haven't seen you in here asking questions before. So it is appreciated. We would love for people to ask questions. Anything mob side, if we don't know the answer, we just give you our opinion. And that's all we could do. CK, I'm glad Danny agrees with John Gotti Jr. being a rat. Their definition, yes. Let's see. Danny, you're absolutely right, buddy. The money that he's earning through religion is totally untaxable. Boys anywhere that can pretend to be religious and earn a lot of money, guys. Yes, it's
I would have more respect for him. And I'm being real. I would have more respect for him if he took his lumps, right? Okay, went into the sun, went to the fucking into the woods or wherever the fuck he went, and just went to oblivion. You know what I'm saying? But he's got to see, because Michael Francis has to be relevant. He has to be, look at me. He's got to say, look what I did. And that goes to your ego. That goes to, he's a narcissist. He has to be relevant, you know?
This guy must be related to Hootie. Bob, a boy. Okay. You ever hear?
Thank you, Baba Booey.
You ever hear Hootie do that? Boy. And he's 50 years old and he's dressed up like he's in the streets and he's 16 and he goes, boy. Okay. Church Avenue Dan. My uncle was killed during the Colombo Wars in the 90s, so I was always interested and grew up around the life. Damn it, cat blocks. Oh, let's see. Tommy B. Danny, you're so jealous.
I am. What can I tell you? I own 2 houses, 4 cars. I got my own business. I'm jealous. Good for you.
And one of your houses is in the mountains of Georgia, and it probably costs.
I'm jealous.
It probably costs us more money than most people's houses on here.
But I'd like to see where the fuck you live, you bum.
Okay.
I
think John Jr. broke his oath, but I wouldn't call him. Okay, I think John Jr. broke his oath, but I wouldn't call him a rat. Just my opinion. I look at it totally.
Well, ask Danny Marino that.
Yeah. Most people probably don't know who Danny Marino is, but you know,
they can look
there's
him
a story
up
behind that. Sonny Francis wouldn't have went along with the hit on his own son if he didn't think he was a rat. Sonny Francis is the definition of Costa Nostra, yes. But there was one great picture of Sonny. Did you ever see the video of Sonny getting out of prison and Michael's there waiting for him?
Listen, can any of your viewers here, and I know firsthand, can any of our viewers here know for a fact how many times Michael Franzese went to see his father? Not only visit his father, what about buying him clothes? What about taking care of him? Can anybody in this panel, anybody on here, can you answer that question? Because I know the answer.
What is the answer?
No. He didn't do nothing for his father.
So
nothing.
he never went
Nothing.
to see.
He took him to go eat 2 or 3 times. That's all he did. He didn't do nothing. The guy had shitty clothes. Greg Vita, a friend of mine, brought him all kinds of clothes. Visited him every day. Took him out. Took him walking. Where was Big Shot Michael Franzese? The punk. The fag. His own father, 99 years old, sitting in an old age home with nothing. Come on. Get the fuck out of here.
Danny, can I borrow? Miss Can't Be Wrong says, Danny, can I borrow your Georgia house?
Yeah, you can.
Michael Francese's mom's house went into foreclosure, and she had to live with her girlfriend, poor, before she died. Mike didn't help save his mom's house. So,
no,
Mike,
I mean, listen, and Brooklyn, he's right. I mean, he didn't do anything. But he wants to talk about Tina. He wants to talk about Sonny, my father. Come on, it's all a farce. It's all bullshit.
So he never did nothing to help his own mother and father.
Listen, when Sonny got out of prison, Sonny went to his daughter's house. She couldn't take care of him. He went to an old age home. Michael Franzese, he had the clothes that he had were from Greg Vita. All the things he had were from Greg Vita. Michael Franzese just wanted to take a picture to say they were with Sonny, that he was there with his father. It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. And that's a fact.
Okay, Jimmy Underwood says, Francis Sr. was kind of stupid over 50 years. If you think about it, gangster, yes. Was it worth it? I'm going to be honest with you, Jimmy. That's a great question, but the fact that doesn't make anything okay with Michael.
First of all, it was found out that it was a lie. The bank robbery was bullshit. Okay, that was all bullshit. So you want to call Franzese stupid? Go right ahead. He lived to 102 year fucking old. He never opened up his fucking mouth. He took his lumps, and that's it. You don't, whatever. You want to call him stupid? Call him stupid.
But the unfortunate part, well, is that Michael Franzese will be 102 years old probably too.
Why don't you talk about two rat sons? One's a drug addict, beat up his wife, stole a piece of junk. He's dying of AIDS. He should be dead, the cocksucker.
From what I've seen on YouTube, Sonny Franzese died in the old age home halfway house with all of Michael's money. Shame.
Yep. All of Michael's money.
No, he means that with all the money Michael had.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he died like a pauper. That's what he had, nothing. Come on. People don't even know. You know what a mockery is? They had people found out, like regular guys in the street that wanted to be groupies. They found out what old age home he was at. They used to go in there and ask and say they were a friend. All they wanted was a picture with Sonny Franzese. How pathetic is that? How fucking pathetic. You know what I'm saying? Here's an old man, that was somebody at one time in the life or whatever. And here you want to go to an old age home just to snap a picture to say, hey, I took a shot with Sonny Franzese.
Okay, 1 second. I'm sorry.
What are you, crying?
No, no, I actually was going to try to. Yeah. Well, anyway, people, we'll do a few more of these. We'll stay here a couple more minutes. We have 247 in here. Thank you once again for.
If you haven't, throw some money towards Lee. He deserves it. He does great work on here. So if you have any few dollars laying in the piggy bank, cough it up.
They're going to go like this. We're tired of Danny Trio trying to get money for Lee.
I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
What's up, Lee and Danny? For some reason, I don't.
What's up, Mustache Pete?
Mustache Pete, I wish I could tell you that, but please rewatch the show. That's all we can ask you, Mustache. And hopefully it's a good show and you like it. Michael has a good racket going. He has made himself so-called minister and is tax exempt because he is part of the church or a pitch a tent church. He laughs all the way to the bank. He sure does.
He can laugh. That's fine. He could laugh. But truth be told, he is what he is, and I'm not jealous. Good for him. But he's a piece of shit.
Michael bought a film crew when he went to see his pops. He didn't go to the funeral.
Listen, that's all he did. He wanted to make people think he's there, whatever. It's sad. It's fucking sad.
Michael
Schumacher, man. Thanks a lot, man. That's a lot. Thanks a lot, pal. I appreciate it.
Michael, I was going to stop the show 13 minutes ago. I'm glad I didn't. That made it worth it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love doing this show. I love when you guys are mixing it up and asking the questions like this. Real mob questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. We're not experts, but I'm definitely not an expert. Danny, more so than
me. No, I'm not an expert.
Everybody's going to check out Danny's Facebook page. Thank you. Very interesting reading on your page.
Thanks a lot, Bill.
Danny, once again, give them the name of your page.
Yeah, if you'd like to go to my Facebook page, it's called This Thing of Ours Social Club. There's a lot of interesting articles. People dig up a lot of good stuff. I contribute as well. There's a lot of good, interesting articles about a lot of wise guys on there. So if you haven't, go subscribe to it or whatever you do, and I'll let you in.
And Danny, there's actually like some guys that have been in, we're not going to say what their names are, but there's actually guys that have been in the life that love your page, right?
Of course they do. But, everybody will say, I know nobody. I didn't do anything. I'm a liar. I spent 18 and a half years in prison. But yeah, everybody, if you go to my page, there's some interesting guys in there that obviously they don't use their real names or whatever, and they're not rats, and they contribute a lot of interesting facts, and it is what it is.
At the end of the day, all street guys know who's got the makings of a varsity athlete and who doesn't. But sometimes, actually, I was reading some guys with money can actually buy themselves to the way of being a captain, can't they, Danny?
Well, there's guys that have bought their way to becoming made. So, it is what it is.
Did you see John Jr.'s recording? It was from a few years ago, but I think it's new on YouTube. He talks about A-Light. Yeah, I've seen quite a bit on him with A-Light. You know what? I wouldn't even put John A-Light near the same level of nothing. You can't even compare the two. You are welcome. I'm on it while I'm doing jobs.
Thanks a lot, Bill. I appreciate it.
Oh, Lee, the latest on Beggar Boy getting paid $1K to do a hit. Yeah, yeah. Here's how stupid he is.
Yeah,
Someone
the
got
hit
him
is
on
to
this.
jump in a fucking bath and take a.
Did you hear how
take a
someone
bath.
got
That's what it
Tony
is.
on this? So Tony comes and says that he needs money yesterday, right? And someone called him out and said, "But Tony, you said you just got $1,000 to go hurt somebody. Why would you need money? That was yesterday that you got the $1,000." And then you know what Tony said? Tony said, "Oh, I gave that back to the person." So Tony was like all pissed because he wanted to get money and he got called out on it. As a matter of fact, Michael bought a. We read it. I'm sorry, I read that. Mobrazzi, Lee, I emailed you and it's coming back error message. Lowercase. Let me try it one more time. Okay. Here you go right here, my man. Maybe I left something out. Did I put the 1010 in? But that's it right there. You should have no trouble with that. Lee, I wanted to say, I noticed your New York City accent coming on has been coming on strong lately. You've been saying, you know what, quite a bit. Well, before I left New York, when I left New York and went to Florida and stuff, everybody knew I was from New York just by the way I talked. But I was gone from New York for a long time, and then I went up to Wisconsin. The way those people talk up there, that's why you'll hear me say, like, FBS used to make fun of the way I would say things. And he was right, because I had like, you know what it's like mixing a Wisconsin accent into a New York accent? So you're going from this yanny, yanny, yanny to a New York City accent. I was watching some of your older videos, Lee. Great interviews. Let me tell you something, people. In the last month, so many of my older videos have been watched. Yesterday, I was checking. Danny, I cannot believe how many people are going to the library now.
Right.
You know, it's amazing. Frank Scalise got whacked for selling mafia memberships for $50,000 at a time, but it's said that the Anastasia was selling mafia memberships by the same price. Do you know anything about that, Danny?
Yeah, that was said. Frank Scalise got killed in the Bronx.
And for taking.
Well, you know, that's what I read as well.
Lee says Columbo instead of Colombo. Yeah, well, Columbo. It's like New Yorkers have a lazy talk. Donald Trump destroys the English language, but he's a very smart man. Sammy the Bull said the vase behind him was the grandmother he pushed down the stairs. Was that a joke or real? I have no idea.
I didn't know, Bill. I don't know. I don't watch them, so I don't know.
People watching old videos, yes, Dave. If you go check my videos to see which one's been pulled up, it's amazing. Literally, this morning. I got up and I'm looking, and I see all these older videos. That's why we know this show's going great, because people are looking at the older stuff. I find it funny how Lee says Danny. Okay. I had a brother named Danny too. He passed away 2 years ago. But I had a brother named Danny also, besides Tom. I become a big fan of you guys. You tell it like it is, both of you and Danny. Thank you. And you know
Thanks,
what?
John. Appreciate that.
That's why these guys don't realize they can say whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. They could talk about us, but the fact of the matter is this show grows every day. So they could say whatever they want. The fact
I'll just give you a little bit of insight. We got a big interview hopefully coming up. It'll be really big. So we'll see what happens.
How big is it?
It's pretty big. I think it may be bigger than the Cthulhu guy.
Really?
Billy.
Oh, you're talking about John A-Light?
Ha!
Oh, maybe. How about his cop friend? Is it him?
Fuck him.
Michael Dowd, whatever. Okay. God bless your brother, Lee. Yep, I have two great brothers. I miss them and love them very much. And shit happens, people. As we get older, more stuff happens around us, more tragedy happens around us. Elvis Presley. Lee, if you want to interview me, let me know. You got my number. I'm a big fan, love shows. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
we appreciate
Pete.
it.
Thanks a lot, Peter.
Okay. We've been on quite a while. We're going to take off, but A-Light would still beat you both in a fight.
Yeah. Here's another dick sucker. He's on his cock sack, too.
Okay, I got two big ones here I got to read for. Lee, I've been had two on my back. It's 2 years, 2 years to do, and I've seen 9 more sessions. Would you mind if I sent you or emailed you a photo of the work I've done, buddy? I can send it now, mate. Sure, you got my email, right? LeeCole1010@gmail.com, and I'll show it to next show. It's weird. I did a video, two videos at Richie the Boots' house and one at Tommy Pee Wee DePhillips' house, and I get comments on them now, the views, I assume. I did them a while ago. Weird. You know what it is, Tommy? When people start liking the product you're putting out, they start going back and looking at stuff. You know, I'll give you an example. I did an interview with Danny, and it had 3,000 views 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. And this is how you know people are saying, who the fuck is this Danny guy? So now it's up 6,000, 7,000. It's literally doubled in 2-3 weeks because people are going back in the library to find out who Danny is. If you look at that video, it'll tell you a lot about Danny. Bill K. Gunner would knock us all out. He is so tough. I was kidding with I was kidding with what's his name, Johnny Mac today, because Tony Pizza every once in a while will say something funny. Not often, but every once in a while. He was saying about Johnny Mac. He said, "Johnny Mac, did Gunner have them big arms wrapped around you when you were out in the woods?" And I was even Johnny Mac laughed when I mentioned it to him. It was just a funny. But that's the problem with pizza. He says one funny thing and 25 horrible things. That's the problem. And I enjoy your shows, content, and fun. We appreciate
Thanks, Jesse. Thank you.
And we like to have you here, Jesse, and we appreciate everything you do. Lee, what do you think about the allegations against, you know something? That's a big battle going on within the family right now. Shane is battling against Stephanie McMahon and her husband, Triple H. They're battling for control of the company because the father's in the beginning stages of Alzheimer's. And so they want that company. And Shane doesn't want to. What's happening is basically Stephanie's trying to screw Shane out of his share of the company. That's the truth, people. So he's saying, okay, well, if you're going to do that to me, I'm going to bring out about how dad paid those women off with all those sexual allegations. Isn't it funny how those sexual allegations just came out, Louis? That was an angry Shane that did that, Shane McMahon, because his sister wants control of the whole company. That's what it comes down to. Now sue me, Vince McMahon. Okay. Or Linda, Vince is like, it's like Joe Biden. He doesn't even know where he is anymore. It's where, okay, I'm sorry. Why are you leaving me like that? For a minute there, I thought I was all alone. I was ready to say goodbye and everything. People, if I missed you, anything on this show, if I didn't read your remarks, please forgive me. I appreciate everything. We had great numbers once again. It's kind of funny. For the first half hour, we had like 180, and I'm like, damn. Then all of a sudden, I look up and we're over 200, and we stayed over 200 for an hour and a half. And that's because of you guys. But I'd like to thank you. Danny, would you like to say anything to him before we leave?
Yeah, again, I appreciate everybody that comes to our channel, subscribes. Even if you don't subscribe and you watch us and you like our content, that's what's important. So I hope you guys keep coming back. We enjoy having you. And thanks a lot.
And people, take care. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching us. We really appreciate it. Oh, and for the donations, thank you all. Whoever donated.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.